Don't be fooled by the rocks that I got. I'm still Jenny from the block. Don't be fooled by the rocks that I got. I'm still Jenny from the block.
Hey y'all, welcome to Ask Jen on the Uprising Network. I'm your host and your most honest homegirl, Jen. I try to be politically involved in both local and national elections. Although the presidential race didn't give me the results I would have desired, I feel like local elections matter just as much, if not more. Although the primaries aren't until August, it takes a lot to pick a candidate of your choice. It is important to start doing the research now, which is why I am so happy to be able to use my platform to do so. Last time we talked to today's guest, she talked about her track record as city council president, emphasized the importance of community, and improving the quality of life of Detroiters. With many more accolades under her belt since then, Mary is ready for a promotion. She is campaigning to be the next Black female mayor of Detroit. Yes. Welcome back to Ask Jen, Detroit City Council President Mary Sheffield.
Hi.
I am so happy that you came back to talk to me.
Of course, I had to be back. I enjoy being on with you, and you know I call you Detroit's Oprah because you are. So glad to be here, Ask Jen.
Let me tell you something. It's been a while since you sat down here with me, but I have seen you everywhere else. Dare to Be Female Conference, we were there together.
That was nice. I enjoyed that.
The Autism Walk, we were there together. Noble Brand had her wellness event. We were there together. So like really supporting female entrepreneurs like here in the city of Detroit. I'm like, we are always in those spaces, and I'm glad to always see you there.
Me too.
Being present and available is like really important to me, and you are always just that.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask you a lot of questions, so we're gonna get the plan out the way first.
Okay.
You know, I like to play games.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's warm up.
This is going to be a trivia game.
Okay.
Although you are the most famous Mary I know, Mary is a very, very popular name. We got Mary Had a Little Lamb, Miss Mary Mac, Mary Quite Contrary. If you did not know, Mary was the most popular girl name in the United States from 1900 to 1961. So you saying like you was named after a grandmother?
Some legendary
There we go. It's some legendary Marys. But like I said, there's some other famous Marys too. So based on the description that I give, can you name these famous Marys?
Okay.
Let's see. All right. The first one, played by Marla Gibbs, this character loved to gossip with her neighbors, Pearl and Sandra. What address did this Mary live, and what was her name?
I'm pass. Who is it?
Mary Jenkins 227. You ever? Mary?
I'm not even gonna lie. No.
Oh my God. Okay, it's okay. You gonna redeem yourself. We got some other ones.
Edit that out.
Okay, this Mary has a twin and has starred in shows like Full House and movies like Little Rascals, Passport to Paris, and It Takes Two.
Mary Kate Ashley.
There we go, Mary Kate Olsen. Okay, you got one. Mary Kate Olsen. You got one. All right. In a Disney movie where she was a lounge singer turned nun, she used this name to step into her new persona as she transformed choirs at a struggling church in school.
Oh, that was my girl Lauryn Hill, right?
Yeah, close. It was Sister Act 2.
It was that Sister Act 2, but I can't remember.
What was Whoopi Goldberg character name?
Oh, what was her name? Sister Mary
Clarence. Let me tell you something. I watch so much TV.
Sorry, y'all.
I watch so much TV. That is the reason why I know this stuff. Okay.
Yes.
I know you're gonna get this one. You just came back from church, so I feel like you in the vibe, the spirit. So nice, you had to say it twice. This gospel duo has hits like Shackles, Walking, and God in Me.
Mary.
Okay, ding, ding, ding. It's the God in me. Okay,
hey,
you know,
it's the God in me.
You know your Marys.
Okay,
as
a little bit. I know Mary Sheffield.
Okay, the most important Mary. I told you're the most famous Mary I know. You ain't lied. I really feel like as city council president, you got a lot done. But what made you want to run for mayor?
Well, so many people, I think, at different times in my career said you should think about it. And over the years, as I started to have impact on the city council, changing people's lives, impacting people through law, seeing both the pain and the potential of Detroit, at this very defining moment, I felt like it was time. Right? We've done a lot of work on the city council. Detroit is changing. progress is happening, but we know that there's still more work to be done. And I feel like I've reached my pinnacle on the city council. I've done as much as I can.
Absolutely.
I've laid the foundation. I've impacted lives. And now it's time to have a deeper reach. It's time to have someone in the mayor's office that can make sure that the growth is equitable and goes deeper into our neighborhoods and touches more people's lives. So
Ooh.
I'm excited because I love Detroit. I'm not going anywhere. This is my hometown, born and raised, daughter of Detroit. And I care. I care about whose hands the future of Detroit is in. And if we don't be careful, this city will only represent a certain amount of people, right? And we all won't benefit from it. And I want to be the voice and the leader that ensures that community is lifted, that our youth are taken care of, that our schools are improved, and that our neighborhoods are thriving. And so there's been so much of a focus on corporations and downtown and business, but now it's about people. It's about community. It's about neighborhoods. It's about empowerment. And I think we need that balance. And I know that I can bring that here in Detroit.
Okay, we love a lady who knows what she's doing. Who was the first person you told you was running?
Probably family.
Okay.
Yeah, it was family.
They knew first.
And I think most people around me, my staff, my friends, they kind of knew. They just knew. Yeah, they knew. They knew it was coming. It was time. Everybody could see it.
Everybody could see it. Like, what you gonna do next? No, I'm gonna be mayor.
Yeah, it was time. And then I think when the mayor announced that he was not running, everybody was like, the door is open. Just walk in. It's your time.
Oh my God.
People saw that it was my time, and I felt it as well. But it took a lot of nights where I was like, is this really what you want me to do? You know, I prayed on it, sleepless nights, really contemplating whether or not this was a direction that I wanted to go, because it is a lot. It's a huge sacrifice. It's not really much. It's more of an obedience thing to me than anything, right? Because I feel that I'm being called to do it. But a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of thought, a lot of prayer. But I ultimately decided to do it because somebody got to do it.
We
want it done right. We want it done right. So glad to be doing this.
I might be biased, but if you want things done right, you got to call a lady to get it done.
That's right. We're the nurturers. We need a nurturer right now. You know, we take care of the whole village as women, right? And that's what's needed. The whole village needs to be nurtured in this time. And so I'm so excited about what's going to happen for Detroit.
I love having this conversation with you. Speaking of, like you said, the sacrifice and obedience, being able to go into this role, I feel like your campaign announcement came pretty fresh off of Kamala Harris's loss to the presidency. The optics are similar. A Black woman who's really at the right hand of a white man who was in leadership. And you campaigned for Harris. You were really involved with her campaign. Did you feel her loss personally at all?
Yeah, it was difficult. She was qualified, more than qualified, capable, able to do the job. It was a tough loss for everyone, I think, especially women of color and those who wanted to see us in that position. But for me, I felt like we have to keep fighting. We got to keep going. And if we couldn't do it on the national level, we have the ability to do it now locally. And again, hopefully that will propel others to see that it can still happen and be done. So it was definitely a huge loss. It was, I think we all for a while were just kind of like devastated.
Super somber.
And, but we, one thing about us, we got to keep pushing.
We got to keep going.
I come from a lineage of people who says that you got to keep going. Without struggle, there's no progress. So I'm excited about the opportunity to make history in Detroit and to show the world what we can do in the city of Detroit.
The eyes are really on Detroit right now. Yes. I feel like mentioning, like, you campaigned for Harris, but you represent all Detroiters. Trump actually gained more support in Detroit in 2024 than he did in 2016 or 2020. When you sit with Detroiters who might disagree with your politics, what is one thing that you notice that we actually all have in common?
We all want a quality of life. That's improved.
That's the biggest thing.
At the end of the day, we all want, I would assume we all want an increased quality of life. It's just how you get there, right? Your belief on what way and what route would take you there. We all want, I'm assuming, good schools, right? We want to be able to make ends meet, not just make ends meet, but thrive, not just survive. And so, unfortunately, the previous election was so many different things were in play in that race. But here in Detroit, I believe that, it's going to be about issues. It's going to be about who can speak to everyday quality of life issues, primarily what can we do for our neighborhoods. I drive around every day. I see the generational Detroiters that have been in their home 30, 40 years who are like, what about us? Small business owners who also are like, we need some more support and assistance as well. And so if you keep talking about the issues that impact Detroiters, I think that's what's going to resonate in this election.
Quality of life, improving our schools, improving our neighborhoods.
Yep.
All right, speaking of Trump, I have to ask. Last year, there was a photo of you circulated online. It was a photo of you and an event designer at a Donald Trump victory-themed Christmas party. What was that about? And what do you want the public to know?
Just that I think it was taken out of perspective. It was probably, in retrospect, if I had known that it was that type of event.
I don't think you would have known the theme of a holiday party would be Donald Trump.
It was an annual Christmas party that someone was like, hey, come by to. But I think everyone in Detroit knows, number one, I was a huge advocate for Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
I spoke at the Kamala Harris rally with Obama. I worked my butt off here on the ground for that election.
We saw you.
And that's where my heart is. Moving forward, though, as a mayor, it should be very clear, just as Governor Whitmer is doing, we have to work with whomever is in office. Because we need federal dollars to come back to the city of Detroit. And so it's not really about, pointing fingers and I'm not talking to this person. Listen, we're here. This is a situation that we're in. And my whole point and my vision and my mission is to figure out how we can find common ground to bring resources back to the city of Detroit.
Absolutely. I think that's critical, like you said. With what we see Governor Whitmer doing, it's just like, these people are not my best friend, but this is, if I am advocating for what's best for the city of Detroit or the state of Michigan, these are the people I'm be working with.
And let it be known, if there's things that are happening on a federal level that will impact residents in Detroit here on the ground, I will be very vocal, right? But I'm not going to pick fights, but I'm also going to stand up for what is right for Detroit and also try to bring as many resources as I can back home to our city.
Something that you have always done.
Always.
Before you announced your run for mayor, back in 2013, of course, you made history as the youngest person ever elected to Detroit City Council at 26. You were elected in 2013, but another big thing that happened in 2013 was Detroit in the bankruptcy. Can you describe what it felt like to be in leadership during that time, and what did it teach you?
Yeah, it was tough.
I can't imagine.
I got elected right when, right after we declared bankruptcy. So everything was tight. Money was tight. So many priorities, so many concerns happening in Detroit with a very finite amount of money. Our retirees were struggling because it was a big thing at that time. I remember street lights weren't really working. Response time from EMS, DPD, basic quality of life issues. Grass was not being cut. I mean, just overall, the city was in a very horrible position, I would say. And so it was challenging at that time because I think people were looking to government for changes that we couldn't financially.
We didn't have
the money. So we were navigating the largest municipal bankruptcy ever. Wow. And so it was a tough time, but we navigated. And I'm very proud of the progress that we made. And I think, again, that is what separates me from other candidates is the fiscal management and discipline that I bring to this race. Having been in bankruptcy and now worked our way out 12 balanced budgets later.
Wow.
With a surplus each year, and now being able to improve and enhance quality of life in basic city services here in Detroit, I think speaks volumes to the work that we've done as a council.
I was just talking to somebody like, no, I remember when Detroit did not have streetlights.
No, I ran pretty much on, we're going to turn your streetlights on. That was the whole campaign at the time because it was that bad. It was that bad back in the day.
And just think about that's all people needed. They needed somebody to believe in,
turn on my
lights.
Yep, just turn my lights on. And so if you look at it now, complete 360 where we are. I mean, lights are up, response times are down. I mean, we have amazing garbage collection system that's in place. Again, we still have more work to do in our neighborhoods. We still have more work to do as it relates to Detroiters making livable wages in the city of Detroit. We have still far too many residents that are in poverty in Detroit. So we have a lot to work to do in that regard. But I am very proud of the progress of our city, but now ready to take it to another level.
I love that. So you just mentioned you have a lot of experience with this balanced budget. You came from a point where we had no resources to now that we have surpluses. If you were to become mayor, what is your plans to ensure that we continue on this path to upward mobility? We know we have a recession that is looming. ARPA dollars are being taken away. So what do you think needs to be that next best plan of action for us to never end up in a situation like we did before?
Well, we have to have fiscal discipline. I mean, that's number one. You have to understand that while there's a myriad of priorities, we have to understand we only have a certain amount of money to spend. But I also think it's important that we look for different ways to create more revenue to Detroit. That's why I've been a big proponent about a local sales option tax, a entertainment ticket surcharge. I mean, something that won't be detrimental to everyday Detroiters, but still brings in revenue to our city. And so as mayor, I am going to be aggressively going after new ways to bring in revenue to Detroit, because we're not going to be able to count on the federal government like we used to, but we have to be innovative in that approach. And I'm also excited about trying to figure out a way to reduce property taxes for homeowners in Detroit. We pay some of the highest property taxes in the country. It's a barrier for both businesses and residents, and we got to get a hold of that as well too.
Okay. Hey, do some property taxes. My
gotta get them
antennas
down.
is up.
Gotta
I'm
get them
listening.
down.
Message. Okay.
Yep.
In 2024, and now we know that it has happened again, Detroit saw population growth for the first time in 67 years. What is the plan to retain residents and keep the growth going?
Affordability, opportunity. We have to have a space where everyone can coexist.
Absolutely.
And, you know, we don't want to displace.
The two Detroit's narrative, like I'm over it.
We don't need it. And what is the uniqueness and beauty of Detroit that's not like DC or Chicago or LA or Miami is we don't have to have gentrification. We don't have to have people who are pushed out of their homes, because Detroit is so big. And we have enough room if we do it right, where everyone can have a space. You know, you can have high income homes, you can have middle income neighborhoods, and you can have some where it's even lower incomes. And you can have mixed income communities as well.
Absolutely.
And so I think a part of it is you have to have opportunities, you have to have good paying jobs, good careers, you have to have good transit. We got to get a hold of our auto insurance reform issues here in Detroit. But you have to have an environment that cultivates a culture of wanting people to stay here. But it goes back to affordability.
Affordability. If I can't pay if I can't pay to live, like why
am I
here?
Yeah.
That's
and you got to have a reason to be here too, right?
Right.
Good jobs, a good school system, and the cost of living. All of those things are important.
That's a good way to retain residents. Okay. So we've seen a lot of criticism over how the city prioritizes business and development over the growth in the neighborhood. From the perspective of a policymaker in the city, do you care to provide clarity as to how it kind of ended up imbalanced like this?
I mean, I think there is a desire to want to grow Detroit, you know, and I think Mayor Duggan has always come from a corporate background. That's his relationships. He has corporate partners and friends. And so I think his focus was really how do we grow downtown, and that's a big part of growing Detroit. Now, I do agree. In order to have a strong city, you have to have a strong downtown, without a question about it. I mean, we all go downtown and hang out.
Hey.
I mean, people come visit downtown. You look at the NFL draft. If we did not have a strong downtown, we could not have brought in over 700,000 people to our city. But it's like it doesn't have to be one or the other. It doesn't have to be and or. You know, you don't have to build downtown on the backs of the neighborhoods, right? And so I think that is what I hear most from Detroiters is that we're not against the development of downtown, but what about us? And I think if there was more of an equal focus, you wouldn't hear as much complaints.
I agree.
Because in the midst of downtown thriving, you had people who were losing their homes, who, you know, foreclosures, who are struggling to get their homes fixed. And so these are the issues that neighborhoods are struggling with while we see downtown thriving. And so again, that has always been a challenge for me as a council member because I can only do so much. Yeah. But as mayor, you have a greater impact to ensure that there's more balance as well.
I love that. Okay. So like you said, as much as we love the bigger companies, the Gucci's, the Chick-fil-A, the Apple Store coming downtown, smaller business owners have mentioned needing support and guidance with zoning, inspection, startup costs for brick and mortar small businesses. Do you have any plans to improve this process for homegrown businesses?
Yep. So I'm going to start an Office of Small Business Affairs. Nice. And that essentially will help navigate, or it's going to really create the ecosystem that small businesses need: access to capital, zoning and permitting, trying to find commercial properties that are affordable so that they can actually have a brick and mortar as well. And so we're going to really cultivate whatever our small businesses and entrepreneurs need in Detroit. And so starting with that office, that gives them the support that they need. And primary is access to capital. We got to have more programs like Motor City Match, Detroit Means Business, that actually gives financial assistance to those who are in need that are small businesses and entrepreneurs.
I love that. Immediately, you said, no, we got an office
Immediately, Office of Small Business Affairs, first 100 days.
First 100
First
days.
100 days.
Okay. You have always been outspoken about the quality of life and good paying job for Detroiters. One of your visions for the city is requiring training and hiring of Detroiters through city funded contracts. Contractual mandates are already existing in Detroit. Bridge Detroit reported that not a single one of the 35 construction projects monitored in the last year actually met the 51% mark of Detroit labor force, and the city is undercharging contractors or not charging them at all for not fulfilling that request. So how do you have a plan to like fix the actual enforcement of this policy? Because the policy is there, but it's not being enforced or collected on.
Yeah, I think we do need more teeth. What happens is that the developers, they bake in the amount because they know that they're not going to reach 51%. So they just already say, hey, we're not going to reach that target.
So they already did just pay the money.
They just pay the money. They just pay the fine. And then it's just, it actually costs the city more because they increase their costs.
Oh, wow.
And so the real issue is that we have to properly continue to train our workforce, get our youth into skilled trades, get them open to the idea of wanting getting into skilled trades, because it's not really just jobs, they're careers. They're good careers as well. And so there has to be more outreach, getting that information directly to our young people. And I think that it has to be more of a will on the developers to just not pay the fine, but to actually want to try to train and get our young people involved. And so I'm going to hopefully navigate that process a bit more where we're actually reaching young people where they are to get them trained.
That perspective like is important. Like developers are just like, we not reaching our mark, so we just
pay the fine. Yep, we'll just pay the fine. Meanwhile, we have so many people, young people who would be interested to get those type of jobs, right? And skilled trades. And so has to be more outreach. There has to be more accountability as well, and a willingness on behalf of the administration to make those connections as well.
That's important. Thank you so much for providing the clarity around that. You are doing an amazing job at helping residents recognize their power. And speaking of companies in power, we got to talk about DTE. DTE's rising rates, monopoly on green energy and poor service. It's a lot. What do you plan to do to either hold them accountable or bring more affordable, sustainable energy options to Detroit? Yeah,
so it's about accountability. I think we have to continue to allow them to provide more assistance through programs to help residents in Detroit. We want to ensure that they're improving their grid and infrastructure in Detroit, reducing times that we're out with outages and power outages in Detroit. And I think overall, we have to have more investment in our homes, right? Because if you don't have proper insulation and weatherization, your bills typically are higher as well. So I'm going to be pushing them to do more home repair grants, more access to things that will help improve people's homes, that will reduce their bill overall. And then we're going to continue to push for any type of infrastructure around the city that will help reduce and make our footprint more green throughout the city of Detroit as well.
Okay. So I feel like Detroit's homes are just older, like on a
very old.
So I'm like, I feel like as time progresses and infrastructure changes and energy changes, like it creates a little bit of that breakdown. So again, like investing in the infrastructure is like really a critical piece. And I'm happy to see like hopefully you can work with DTE to
I will. And I think the residents should know too that the council or the mayor, we don't set DTE rates.
Oh yeah.
The Michigan Public Service Commission does that. But with that being said, we still have the ability to hold them accountable. They are Detroit headquartered businesses. They're right in Detroit. And they get a lot of money from Detroiters. And so we can hold them accountable to provide more support to those who are in need, utility assistance programs, home repair grants programs, and again, providing more infrastructure improvements in their grid to reduce those times, I think is important as well.
Thank you. Like you said, you're going to work with them. I believe you.
Oh, I will. Working with them now.
You help implement water affordability legislation, helping over 30,000 Detroit families. We know no service is sustainable if the proper infrastructure is not in place. We saw the water main break in Southwest Detroit earlier this year. There is a serious need for infrastructure upgrades in Detroit. The average age of water age of water assets in Detroit is 95 years old. We know with the current climate crisis, there will be a strain on our current resources. What's the plan to upgrade the water infrastructure as well to keep things like this from continuing to happen throughout the city? Yeah, so we have a huge effort that we're doing now. We're doing a lead service line replacement throughout the entire city. We have some federal funds that just came, $300 million. We got that before Biden left, by the way. So we're putting that to work now. We still have some money coming through the state. But again, I'm going back to we have to find different revenue streams. Columbus did a half penny
tax, half of a penny, and that allowed them to put investments in their water infrastructure and public transit as well. And so I think we have to be innovative, right? We have money that has been allocated. I will continue to prioritize us using our general fund dollars as much as we can towards infrastructure, but we have to be innovative in our approach to creating more revenue streams to address issues like that as well.
Okay.
Yep.
That's helpful. All right, now let's talk about housing. This
Okay.
is my favorite topic.
Yes.
Although it has been shown that Detroit is a mostly home buyer city, a large percentage of these homes are renter occupied. The average Detroiter makes about $3,300 a month. And the average cost of rent is $1,300 a month. That is 40% of your income going to just housing. There are a lot of plans to help homeowners. What are we going to do about this renter crisis that we got here in Detroit?
Yeah, we have to empower renters. We have to ensure that they know their rights. So I do tons of empowerment, renter rights workshops throughout the city of Detroit. I would love to have some way that we can control rent in Detroit. But we can't.
You just said the magic words to me.
control.
Detroit needs rent control.
We do need rent control. I tried to do it my first year. It was Stephanie Chang.
They had it on you.
She was a state rep at the time. That's how me and her got close. And the state law preempts the city, so we cannot do it. It was we can't do it unless we change state law. So that's a whole nother fight upon ourselves. But I'm ready for the fight, Detroit. I'm ready for the fight. But in the interim, we have to continue to empower tenants. We have to continue to ensure that we're creating more housing that's affordable for renters as well. And then also my focus is going to be, how do we transition renters into homeowners? Nobody talks about that much. And I think it's okay to rent. I've rented for a long time. I just became a homeowner when I got elected as council years ago. But that's one way to create generational wealth is through a home. So we want to start educating people on, just as much as you're paying in rent, you actually can have a mortgage and have a home, right? And so it's education that I think is important. So we're going to have an office of housing rights and home ownership that actually empowers tenants to know their rights. We want to have more rental assistance programs to help those who are struggling in their rent, eviction diversion programs as well, but also trying to transition as many renters into homeowners through down payment assistance.
Full of homes.
Full of homes.
Full of homes. Like, I feel like the idea of transitioning renters to homeowners it's just the sprawl that we have throughout the city. Is so many unoccupied homes. If people were just living in them, we can watch our communities rebuild again.
And that's what's so important to me. Home ownership is I think key, and is what's missing in Detroit. We used to be a city of homeowners.
Yeah.
And that somehow lost its way, but Detroit will be back. Homeowners are coming back. You got it.
Again, we are talking about like building our communities, having homes. And of course, we know at the core of our communities, we have our youth.
Yes.
We know that you are a daughter of Detroit. Do you remember the first time you realized like Detroit is unlike any other city in the world?
With the day that I remembered that.
Yeah, do you just have a memory where you was like, Detroit is so special? So
many memories. Belle Isle, growing up, again, in my neighborhood on Sherwood Forest, just a beautiful neighborhood. Everyone was family. I had some great memories there. My time at Wayne State University. And honestly, even when we had the NFL draft, that was a big thing to see 700,000 people come to downtown Detroit. I was very proud as an elected official, as a Detroiter, being a part of the growth. To see that moment was a very proud moment. And it showed us in a different light. Like we're resilient. Like we're the comeback city, and I love that, and it showed to me what Detroit was all about.
I love that. If you ask any like older Detroiter, they will tell you that the youth in the city don't have the same opportunities that we had in regards to like programming and things like that. Do you feel like that's nostalgia or it's an actual fact?
No, I think we have a lot of room to improve on when it comes to young people, when it comes to after school programming, more recreational opportunities, just more investing in our young people. So that is a priority for me as well too, and when we talk about gun violence, when we talk about safety, prevention is key. And if you start to invest in young people early with these recreational opportunities and educational opportunities and programs, you prevent a lot in the long term.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think, at a time we had so many rec centers that were closed. And now that they're reopening, we have to start getting programs back into them as well. And so that is a big part of what I want to do, is making sure we have more mentorship, more opportunities for our youth, more things for them to do, productive things.
Absolutely.
I hear from young people all the time, like it's not much to do, in Detroit. And so we want to have more positive outlets for our young people. So I think we have a lot of room to do and to improve in that area.
And it's a priority for you.
Yes, it is.
That's good to know. Okay, so making Detroit safer for kids isn't just about police and surveillance. You've worked on things like the community input over government surveillance ordinance to protect people's privacy. And you support community programs that actually help prevent violence, like the community intervention programs. Yeah. Yep. We know the police allocate the largest line item in the city budget. With this shift towards community policing, do you see that coming with a shift in the city budget as well?
So we have some state funding that came to support community violence intervention. So we are not directly funding that, and it was also funded through ARPA.
Okay.
But I think, you know, there's it has to be a holistic approach when you talk about violence. You know, you do need public safety. You want to have a strong DPD, Detroit Public, our Detroit Police Department. You want to have community policing, but you want to have it in a way that builds trust, but doesn't over police our neighborhoods. But then you have to at least, you know, divert some funding towards prevention, to mental health, to all of the underlying social issues that breed crime in our community. And I think if you have a balanced approach, then you're actually holistically addressing public safety. And I think that is what sometimes is missing, is that we do so much on policing, but you can never police your way out of public safety.
Never.
You never can. So we got to have more focus on prevention, and building that trust between police and community, I think, is key as well.
Your initiatives like Occupy the Corner and the State of the Youth have been favorable among young Detroiters. What's your plan to inspire this next generation of Detroiters as a city council leader and as potential mayor?
I want them to be involved throughout the whole process, our youth. We're going to continue with Occupy the Corner, hopefully moving it now to the mayor's office so it's citywide and has a larger impact. Hopefully we could turn it up a notch. We want to have, we have a youth services department. We want to kind of reimagine what that looks like and really let the youth kind of drive a lot of the engagement, more so than what they're doing right now in Detroit. So, you know, as the youngest ever elected, I think I owe that to our young people, to really feel as if they're empowered throughout this process. And our young people are so smart. They're gifted, they're talented. And I think oftentimes we tell them what they want, but they also should be a part of that decision making and that guiding as well. So a lot of things are going to be in store for our young people. I'm excited about it. We're going to start with the Youth Services Department, State of the Youth, Occupy the Corner. All of my initiatives will continue just at a larger scale in the mayor's office.
I think you, like you just mentioned, you being limited to being able to do this within your district.
Yes.
I feel like the impact was not felt as widely, but bringing it to the mayor's office, I can see the impact like increasing in it, and youth feeling like they're being heard and actually, like you said, are participating in this process. In a city like Detroit, it's very easy to feel like things are being done to you or decisions are being made for you.
Exactly.
But engaging the youth and getting them involved earlier will hopefully be able to change that mindset.
Yep. Civic engagement. We want to have a youth commission. We're going to have a lot of youth-centered initiatives throughout Detroit. For sure.
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah.
So let's get into like some self-reflection, because like you said, this is not a path that has been blazed before. Like you are really you are the youngest city council president. You are running to be the first female Black mayor of the city of Detroit. You running for mayor is an act of bravery in itself, especially as a woman. Do you ever feel like people use sexism or misogyny to discount the things that you have worked very hard for? And what do you like say to these naysayers?
You know, I don't say much to the naysayers.
You said I don't talk to them. I don't talk to the haters.
I don't say much to the naysayers. I just walk in purpose. I just try to walk in purpose every day. Yes, misogyny and sexism is real. I'm actually seeing it play out now. Oh, right now in this race, to be quite honest with you. But I know the God that I serve, and purpose is real. Purpose opens doors that no man can close. So whoever's listening, walk in your purpose. Just walk in it. But I don't say much to the naysayers, because you just let your work speak for itself. You know, I just try to work hard every day, and I know that what God has for me is for me. And if it's not supposed to be, God's gonna protect me, because rejection is God's protection. And so I feel that I'm gonna work as hard as I can. Even as a woman, sometimes we feel we got to work even harder.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, I don't take anything for granted, and just work hard. And I feel that if this is the calling that God has for me, all things will work out for my good.
Amen.
Leave the naysayers alone, y'all.
Leave them alone. My biggest thing is I feel like so much of this, like, yes, you are running for mayor, but so much of what you're doing is who you are. Even if you end up not being mayor, like, we will still see you in the public helping youth, helping community members, like being involved. And I feel like you mentioned like this is your purpose. My purpose path just so happened to guide me to running for the mayor of Detroit, but it's just like the values are in you regardless. I just see it.
It just so happened to lead me here. You're so right. And I'm like, Lord, why? But that's what he has called me to do. Literally. And so that's the beauty about life. We all have that. You're in your purpose, Jen.
I love this.
I can see it all on you.
Oh, I love this.
You literally are. No, that's your purpose. Whatever the naysayers say, Jen, what God has for you is for you, right?
Thank
and
you.
So that's the beauty about it all. We all have one. We all have to walk in it. And I believe a part of my calling is to help others find theirs and to cultivate that gift that we all have and let us all serve it to the world. And honestly, government is a part, in my opinion, of helping cultivate the gifts of others, right?
Oh, absolutely.
We provide the resources. We are supposed to help give, right, to help others become better. And so that is my way to serve my purpose.
That is a brilliant spin, by the way. Is there a moment, like you've been doing this for a while, is there a moment where you ever felt like, yeah, I'm done with this, I'm gonna walk away from politics forever?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely have had some moments, yes, to answer the question.
What kept you in the race? Well, what kept you in the game? Because you've been doing this for a while, and even like when you first ran, you lost. So like you could have gave up back then. Yeah. What was it? What did you run for? House, Senate?
I was state representative.
There we go.
That was the first time, and then I lost by, I think it was 17 votes.
Wow.
Then I ran again. Well, and then I won. You know what? It's the still small voice, something in me that just keeps pushing me like this is what you're supposed to do. It's not going to be easy, but just keep pushing. And honestly, I knew that I was done with counsel because I got the confirmation from God like that, like it's okay, it's time to move on. And so it's, the ability to impact others, knowing the type of person that I am and what the city needs always give me that motivation to keep moving forward. So I would say the still small voice, my intuition, my gut. Even though you have fear, you have doubts, you have all of the different emotions that we have oftentimes, it's that intuition in my gut that kills me to keep going forward.
I'm glad that you said that because I feel like so often that still small voice, your intuition, your gut, you ignore it. Or you feel like that's not important, or you feel like I know better than what my body and my mind is telling me. So you saying that those little things that we tend to ignore is what is really like keeping you motivated.
Important.
Yeah, I'm gonna start listening again.
We should. We oftentimes overlook the littlest things, but it's so important. And just your heart, your heart to guide you.
Thank you.
Yep.
What have you found to be the hardest part about running a campaign?
It's so many things. I don't even everything. Like it's you have to raise money. You're competing. It's always something going on with who's saying something about you, where you're not at. It's just so much happening. And you have to be so many places. I think sometimes you feel like, are you missing out on something? Are you doing enough? Because really, it's a competition.
Oh,
right?
yeah. And it's like, I don't hate these people. We're not enemies. Yeah. It's just we want the same.
Right. And we're running a race. Like this, and I'm very competitive. Like down in my core, I am very competitive.
Oh, I did not know that about you.
I'm very competitive. Like, you hear? I'm very competitive. Like, it's bad. Like, I do not like to lose.
You said I want to win.
Yes, I do. I want to win. I do not like to lose. So if you already are naturally competitive and then it's politics on top of that, it could be rough.
It's a beast.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's so many different factors. Like, you always got to, whether or not you're missing something, you got to be certain places. Are you missing territory? Are you missing people? Did you say the right thing, the wrong thing? It's a lot of different things. But overall, I just try. Someone told me that's in politics for a very long time. He said, just enjoy the process. You have to find a way to just enjoy the process.
Are you enjoying the process?
What I'm learning how to do that.
Okay. Now. You said I'm working on it.
Yep,
I love that. Okay. Politics can be very, very heavy. Like you just mentioned, it's a lot of factors to consider. What is something you do for fun just to unplug and reset?
I like to work out. I like to laugh. I like to have I love laughing.
I love a good
I love comedy. I love comedy. I love concerts. I like being with my family. Just, hanging out with friends and family and a good laugh. Like anyone who knows me I love to have a good time in the sense of laughing. I'm very funny. And so that will just take the relief away in a good steam room.
Ooh,
a good steam room.
I'm a sauna girl. I love
Listen,
me a
some good
sauna.
steam.
Okay, it will reset my life. If I'm ever mad or upset or something go right, you gonna find me in a sauna at some point in that day.
But let me say, a steam room and a sauna are two different things.
Tell me about the steam room.
Steam is like it's steam.
Ooh.
Yeah, you got to try a steam room.
I need to try a steam room.
Mm-hmm. Okay, do it.
Another wellness tip. I'll always learn something from you. I know sometimes like reaching a new goal can be isolating. When you need advice, like real advice, who's the first person you call?
My grandmother.
Aww.
I really would call my grandma first. Yeah, my grandmother is 86 years old.
Grandmas are the best.
She is the kindest, smartest person you will ever meet, and she will give me that advice that I need. So if I really want an unbiased, unjudgmental, just real, gonna tell me like I want to hear it, I would call my grandma.
I love that. Mm-hmm. Is there a piece of advice you've been given in your political career that you will never forget?
No permanent friends, no permanent enemies, just permanent interest.
Hey, that is something I need to apply for myself.
That's a classic. Yeah, there's no permanent friends, no permanent enemies, just permanent interest, which is like you don't take nothing personal in this. And that's in life. Don't take nothing personal. You know, it's just about business. It's about issues, and stick to that. And
like you said, like in life, like not just politics, we are all moving in our own self-interest. So it's just like people are doing whatever they need for themselves at all times.
And don't take it personal. You know, I that's one thing I've learned too. Like I used to even get upset if somebody running against me. Like, just Mary, don't. Like, I'm like, what got the nerve to run against me? Like, seriously, like, I would be in my feelings. Like,
why you see I want this spot? Why you want it?
Like, listen, but now it's like, hold on, I don't take anything personal. They believe that they, you know, so don't take anything personal. You know, that's a real thing. That's life too.
As mayor, you will be inheriting a new city council too. They all can't be like President Sheffield, okay? As mayor, if you become mayor, as I'm hoping you become mayor, if you did not know, like my decision is made, like I'm voting for Mayor Sheffield. It is very clear. You will be inheriting a new council. What type of people would you like in your legislative arm to establish policy in the city of Detroit? What type of people would you like to be working with?
So I'll go on record and say I would like all of the current members to be where they are. I've worked with them for the last 4 years, and I think they're a phenomenal group of elected officials. I have relationships and rapport with them. You want somebody that can work with you, teamwork. You want a collaborative spirit. You don't want a combative relationship. We've had that in the past. And you saw where
people get caught straight.
Yeah,
city
pretty much. Meetings. Nothing was done. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't want to go back. We don't want to go back, Detroit. So we want to have people who can work with each other. We're not going to always agree, but if it's teamwork and we're working in the spirit of collaboration, trying to move Detroit forward, I'm all for it. And so I think all of the current council members would serve as great team players in the growth of Detroit.
They have, yeah.
And that's who I would love to work with.
I love that. Okay. Yeah. Everybody who you have worked with, you said, I like working with y'all.
Whoever comes, I still work.
Okay, all you got to do is be a team player and be motivated to give us a better quality of life.
Quality of life.
So a little bit about the future. How do you measure success? Like as the mayor, how do you feel like, okay, these policies are working. I'm feeling like this is successful. What's the receipt you want to be able to produce to the people?
I mean, there's a lot of different ways to measure. I would say, of course, always population growth, I think, is important. If I can decrease the level of poverty in Detroit, that's important to me. If we can transition more people into home ownership, that will be important. I have a goal of building 1,000 new single-family homes within my first term as mayor.
Wow.
So that's a way to measure my success as well. And again, these are not just numbers we're throwing out. We're doing it based on data, based on what we've built in the last 12 years that I've been here, what can actually be done. And so 1,000 new single-family homes is doable. So I would love to see that. Currently, right now, there's 4,000 roughly that has been quoted DPSCD students that are homeless. And so I would love to see that number decrease, if we can judge me based on that as well, too. And so I would say, you know, raising the incomes of Detroiters, I would love to see overall the average median income rise in Detroit. Ours is around $38,000 compared to the state of Michigan at $70,000. So we have a long way to go again to raise the incomes of Detroiters. So overall, judge me by the level of quality of life being increased by those things being measured. That's important to me.
Let me tell you something. I feel like I hear like all the time, like Detroit don't got new build homes. I don't want to live in Detroit because all those homes is old. You saying you about to put 1,000 new builds in this? I know people are waiting for that and are ready to act on them as soon as they are produced.
We need
like
them.
that's exciting.
It is. Yep.
10 years from now, when people talk about Mayor Mary Sheffield, what's one thing you hope they'll say about your time leading in Detroit?
She was someone who saw me. She helped improve the quality of life. My life is better because of her. She served me well. She served with integrity. She showed up every day and fought for the betterment of the city. And because of that, our city has grown. We're a world-class city, a city of opportunity. And because of her, she made my life better.
Ooh.
You know, that's really all I want. You know, because of her leadership, Detroit is in a better position. My neighborhood, my block, my business, my family, my school is better because of her leadership. So just simply put, the city is better off because of her leadership.
I love that. And like, okay, so this is my last question. You mentioned you wanted to establish the office for business affairs, small business affairs within your first 100 days. Do you have any other markers that you want to hit in your first 100 days?
Yeah, so we also want to create an office of gun violence prevention, which we've been pushing for every year. We got close to doing it this year, but we didn't do it. So that will be within the first 100 days. Also, we want to create these community empowerment centers in the neighborhoods, similar to neighborhood city halls. We want to kind of implement that. It may not be within the first 100, but we're bringing them back to the rec center. So if you have stuff that you need to do with the city, you can go to your rec center and do it. You don't have to come downtown. But you can also get other social services within those empowerment centers as well. So we want to spread those throughout the city, which we hope to do within the first 3 months of my term. And we're going to go to work right away trying to go to Lansing and reduce property taxes day one as well.
Day one.
Yep, day one.
I love to hear it.
Yep.
Thank you so much for sitting down with me. Good luck for the rest of your campaign. Primaries we got a while to go, but it's coming up and it's moving fast.
Yeah, it's coming fast.
Yeah, catch Mary in your neighborhood. You know, if you ain't been on her Instagram, my girl is walking everywhere. So
headed to walk today.
Okay, headed to walk as soon as they leave here. Thank you so much again for coming on Ask Jen. I appreciate you.
Yes,
y'all.
Now I have to come back when I'm mayor.
Ain't no how we can schedule it right now. What you start January 1st? Yes, okay, you can come on. No.
That'd be nice.
It was so good talking to you again. If you are interested in any information about Mary Sheffield and her campaign, you can visit her website. You can find her on social media. Also, call her office. If you have any questions, there is a lot of staff there who can answer any questions that you have regarding quality of life, taxes, housing, anything that you want to know about her campaign. If you cannot find it online, there's somebody in that office there to talk to you. I hope to see you soon. Bye. I know on Ask Jen we love to play, but let's get serious for just a little bit, y'all. The primaries are August 5th. That is less than 100 days away. This is not just politics. It's personal. It's about our neighborhoods, our pockets, and our future. Do your homework, ask tough questions. While campaigning is when candidates are most visible, make sure your community needs are known, and most importantly, vote. Did you know in the last Detroit mayor election, less than 30% of us voted? We have to change that narrative. If there are any more candidates that you want to see on the Ask Jen show, let me know and I'll try to get them on. I know I'm gonna see y'all at the next party, but I hope to see y'all at the polls too. Bye.